Life can be stressful, even under...
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
The wicked ones obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
Coming to you live and direct from the phantom shores of the ghostly Hudson River. Yes, my name is Ra Castaldo, and I am here to awaken those dormant particles that are here spiraling inside your DNA. So come with me as we go further down this mystic spiral of life. Inside the Eye of Ra, each and every week we unveil the different shades of you and the different shades of me until we are all vibrating. What is it? What are we vibrating? We're vibrating that truth frequency. Welcome everybody to the Truth Frequency Radio Network. You have stepped inside the Eye of Ra, which is Soul Station Radio. And we are here live every Saturday night from 7 to 9 Eastern or 4 to 6 Pacific, or wherever you are embedded in this matrix. Welcome here to our network, whether you're hearing us on iHeartRadio or Paranormal Radio app. Welcome. It is December 19th, 2020. We are stepping into La Festa del Inferno, which is the winter solstice. And we have a powerful show. In fact, I didn't realize originally Gary Wayne was going to be guest. I didn't realize tonight. I thought I had him booked in January, and I didn't realize it was tonight and January. He just contacted me a minute ago, like I'm ready to go. I'm like, oh man, I didn't realize you were coming on tonight. Can we do it next week instead? So Gary will be on next week instead, because I really wanted to do this winter solstice show. With my own topic and to go down some very interesting stuff for us tonight. This is going to be an exclusive broadcast for everybody out there because I've been getting some very powerful visions, very powerful information that I needed to share with everybody before 12/21. So maybe you guys can actually feel it within inside you. And hold on one second. Yeah, so Gary can make it next week. I was just talking with him on Skype for a minute. Sorry guys, I didn't mean to hold you up for a minute. Yeah, so what's up in the chat room? What's up, boy? Solomon, Ani, Mora, Path of the Fool, Indigo, Rebecca, Nightshade, Bam, everybody out there within the chat room on Truth Frequency Radio Network, everybody listening to me live on iHeartRadio, everybody on the frequencies of this planet broadcasting the truth. We are here, and I'm ready to get down deep into it because, guys, 2020, yes, has been riddled with disaster, right? It's and that word disaster, I've talked about it before, right? Disaster is one of the main words that like really relate to what we are and what's happening on our planet, right? And I said it before. Aster, break down that word disaster. I've talked about this before. Aster is what? Aster is knowledge of the stars, right? And dis it means moving away from, having less than, expelled from, to be the opposite of. So disaster is having no star knowledge, no star origins, being cast away from your star knowledge, being cast away from your true star meaning and star origins. And that's what the true word of disaster is, and that's where the origins of disaster comes from. It's not connecting to the star knowledge that we have within us. And this is very interesting because 2020, yes, has been intense with one thing after another, high stress for everybody. We've been literally we're going through a cosmic transformation, a cosmic war, right, between dimensions. And we're going to explain that a little bit as well tonight. But 2020, not only has it been incredible craziness, but it also has been the most vivid 5D connection and higher dimensional connections that I've had and other clairvoyants and empaths and sensitives that are out there have been feeling this as well, that we are literally at a transformation right now. 4D, which is the dimension of time, is at war with 3D. It's absorbing so whatever happens within is what we transform to in the 5D. And our literal dream time is mining and cultivating our 5D life. What happens in our dream time is directly related to what we're transforming into in 5D. And I truly believe that. And we're literally getting sucked back through the loop of time, right? And when free will, which is the ultimate harmonic law of our universe, when free will is restricted and manipulated, that's when we lose choices, we lose dimensions, right? We lose possibilities. And this is what happens when there is a violation of the ultimate law on our planet, which is free will. And a lot of us have been activating our true soul purpose and our higher purpose during these times so we can help the humanity transform during this transformation to a higher consciousness and not get branched off into the replicated cosmic slime that has veiled our third dimension, that is wrapped around us, right? And I've been getting the most vivid communications with my higher self during these 2020 months. And I've had some very interesting psychic and remote viewings over the last few weeks, especially. And it's been the most intense, the most vivid, the most clear, the most powerful it's ever been. And I know people feel it out there. And we are for sure happening right now, a huge shift within our multiverse. And I did a basic, if you want to call it, remote viewings or remote visitings or clairvoyant higher dimensional meditations where I'm using copper plates, copper Faraday cages, and it's enhancing my higher connection. And I did some remote viewings, if you want to label it that, if you want to call it that, related to our election, related to the celestial alignments that's coming here right now in December, on December 21st. Shout out to Rebecca. Good comments. Everybody's getting a higher self hug. Right, December right now. Shout out to my brother Bam out there. I know he's listening. December right now, we're coming into a conjunction, a Jupiter-Saturn conjunction right now. And I have gotten powerful connections and visions concerning the Trump campaign, the campaign in general, and a certain star system that the ancients considered one of the most malevolent and dark forces in the cosmos. Now, Christianity sort of even made it more demonized in a way. And we're going to get into this. We'll get into this first, because we're going to get into a lot of things tonight. And it's going to be a very interesting show to say the least, and very exclusive information, because I've been shown very interesting information that's directly related to what's happening on our conjunction here, right? And thank you, Bam, for the stream last Monday. I'll be on Leak Project also on 12/21 I mean, on 12/22, which is Tuesday. I just did a show with Robert Phoenix yesterday. If you guys want to check out YouTube, it's at the Robert Phoenix, the 11th house. And there's a star that's called Kaput Al Ghul, right? Now, this star is the name Al Ghul. It's spelled Algol. Kaput is Caput, and Al Ghul is Algol. Now, this is known as the demon star, actually the blinking demon, because it's called a binary star. Well, but what's interesting, when I was remote viewing I actually saw it as a triple star. It's a blinking star, but it's actually there's three. It's not just a binary. It's whatever I don't know what it's called when it's three, but there's actually three stars related to this, and I've been talking about it on my Patreon the last couple of days, and I talked about it on the Robert Phoenix YouTube show yesterday. But we're gonna go deeper into it tonight and even add more layers to it. Right? So this star, Kaput Al Ghul, actually comes from the Arabian name Raz Al Ghul, right? Even this is a character that appears in Batman, right? Right? Raz Al Ghul, right? Which literally means in Arabian the demon's head. Now, what's truly amazing is that I felt that this star, I got a high connection. That this star was directly related to the Trump campaign, tied into it all. And at that time, I didn't know that this star is actually within Trump's astrological chart in his midheaven, right? There's it's a big part of his chart as well, which is another thing that we're going to explore tonight. But I got powerful visions of this star being actually related to this election and this conjunction that's happening between Jupiter and Saturn on December 21st. And I saw Kaput Al Ghul having some sort of special opening and activation, something that has been dormant will be activated during this alignment, and it will be Jupiter and Saturn will be extremely influencing this triple star in a very special way, and actually transporting something from it. And I do believe it's related to a galactic computer that's linked into our Milky Way and has different stations, different ports, different vectors, different if you want to say spaceship stations or some sort of high technology that are anchored in certain parts of the universe, one of them being in Kaput Al Ghul over in that area. Now, I do think that something will be coming our way, activating on December 21st, and it's related to this. Now, this star was originally in Hebrew, was actually associated with Lilith, was called Lilith, and then over time they changed the name sort of to Rosh Ha-Satan, which means the head of Satan, right? So this is a very interesting star that the Hebrews called both Lilith and Rosh Ha-Satan, and the Greeks also called this the demon's head. They called it the Gorgon's head. They called it the Medusa's head, right? And the Chinese, their name for this star literally translates to piled up corpses. So this star has always been looked at as sort of a malevolent and dark vibrational energy that's transmitting from this star through shamans, witches, mystics, sorcerers, and the like that have used this star to evoke evil, right? But what's interesting is that it's not just used for evil, right? This star is used for protection against dark forces as well, right? It's actually used to evoke protection against evil. So it's not just used for malevolent forces to be evoked on or invoked. It's actually used to protect against these malevolent forces. And what's also interesting is Kaput Al Ghul was used in ancient mysticism for revitalizing the body. And I think it's directly related to Trump's campaign. Now, it's Trump got revitalized very quick as well from after getting corona, right? And it's meant to revitalize the body, right? And mystics have used this star in a very special way. Now, let's get further into that, because this star, the head of Medusa, if you want to call it, and if you guys realize during the Trump campaign, I think the ladies with Kathleen Turner or one of the, I forget her name now, but Kathy Turner ended up holding the head of the Medusa up, or the decapitated head up. This star is associated with losing your head, getting your head cut off, or losing, when all crap hits the fan, people don't know how to control themselves. That all hell breaks loose, right? This is known for breaking loose all hell, right? And this star, under the Christian influence, was greatly maligned and considered to cause literal misfortune, dark energy, and violence, right? And it's in the constellation of Perseus, for those that don't know, and it also has the influence of Taurus. So in the book The Magus by Francis Barrett, he even states that this star, Kaput al-Ghul, was the nature of Saturn and Jupiter, and was the most evil star in the cosmos, right? So in astrology, this star is considered to also have a negative impact on things. And like I said, the Hebrews call it evil names associated with the demon Lilith, or the first wife of Adam, however you want to look at it, right? Lilith has this aggressive nature. She wanted to be the equal of Adam, and she was, basically became transformed into some sort of evil incarnation, right? But Kaput al-Ghul was a friend, used as a spiritual weapon of protection to mystics. Even in my Italian heritage, that I'm connected to, called the Tanaric mystics, right? As Benindante or Strego or Mago, they're connected to different clans of ancient cults, if you want to call them, or ancient belief systems or ancient ways, right? And all the mystics in Italy, they had different labels, like the Gennaric mystics, right? Or the Tanaric mystics. The Tanaric mystics were the ones that had the stellar mysteries, the mysteries of the stars, literally encoded within their genetic memory, passed down from generation to generation. These Tanaric mystics talk about Kaput al-Ghul as being an ally, as being something that can be used to protect somebody from another witches, or another sorcerer, or another mystic, or some other spiritualist evil thoughts or evil spells or black magic. This is a star that can be evoked to protect you from spells, and actually cause the sender of dark spells to receive them instead. And also, this is used to revitalize and strengthen the physical and spiritual body, right? So in magic, this star literally was used during certain alignments. When Kaput al-Ghul was aligned with the moon and was aligned with Saturn and Jupiter, when they would do certain rituals, and they would use certain materials. Now, there's certain stones and certain herbs that are associated with Kaput al-Ghul. One of them is the diamond. Diamond is specifically associated with this star. Also, lead, the metal lead, is specifically associated with the star. And also, the herb mugwort is specifically associated with the star as well. So, when doing spell work, if you want to call it that, when doing spiritual work, right, and using the extension of our neural network, which is the cosmos, the cosmic consciousness, which is the stars, they would wait for Kaput al-Ghul to be in conjunction with the moon, in conjunction with Saturn and Jupiter. And these is when they would prepare these certain objects, right? So they would get a sharp dagger and prepare it as a talisman, as a charm, to cut down demons, to cut down evil, to exorcise evil, right? And this talisman or dagger or amulet, they would make it of lead or diamond even, right? And fume it bathe it in the incense of mugwort during this conjunction. And this would and while they did this, they would also inscribe a special sigil that's linked to Kaput Al Ghul. And if you guys look at my Patreon, patreon.com/The Mystical Spiral, or if you probably look it up in Google, I know Indigo Child and other people are throwing up some pictures in the chat room. But if you just look up the sigil for Kaput Al Ghul, you'll find it. And this is the same sigil that's used during these times to make these sort of talismans and daggers or amulets. Now, I also did see a powerful alignment happening with this star, and something like a galactic computer coming our way. And this is very interesting information. I do think that there's certain stations in the sky in our cosmos that have different super quantum computers, stargates, if you want to say, that's connected to the thoughts and the harmonic frequencies of the universe and the whole quantum network that we live within, the whole multiverse. It's all linked to supercomputer systems, and some of them might have been installed within the future that now it looks like it's been there for the ancient past, but certain things have been changed, and it's from our future. So this is very interesting information. And when you guys look at even the Trump campaign, this sort of star is linked to this Trump campaign in many, many ways. And it could be used to protect against any evil forces against us, right? And I saw a powerful alignment happening, and I was even shown very interesting things. You know, there's an ancient Etruscan prophecy that I found related to when the winter solstice is in conjunction with Saturn and Jupiter, which is what's happening right now, in 2 days, right? In 2 days, this happens. And I don't know how old this prophecy is, but of course the Etruscans were a couple of thousand years ago, 2,000 years ago, right? But in ancient Tuscany, which is part of where my hereditary line is from, there's an old myth that's passed down in Tuscany that is said to come originally from the Etruscans. And this ancient Tuscan lore talks about a child of promise, a newborn sun king that will arrive or be born or somehow enter into this world to help save humanity when Jupiter and Saturn are in conjunction with the winter solstice. And this winter solstice will arise a child of promise, a newborn king, sun king. And this is, you know, it's not a mistake or also a copycat that many so-called messiahs or avatars or gods have arrived, or they use the December 25th or winter solstice time of year as the rise of a newborn king, a newborn sun god, right? Christmas wasn't picked for that date. This is because there's certain conjunctions that happen, certain stars that arrive, right? Comets are transporting these from different star systems, and avatars arrive into our realm. Messiahs arrive from the universe during these times. During every year, you know, even the airwaves of our world are full with people talking about Christmas, December 25th, right? Jesus Christ is born. Jesus Christ was born, right, at this time, right? And people don't really know the real history behind all of this. And we are having one of those alignments once again. Literally, we're at a time where an avatar is being born. There's a transformation happening, and a newborn world is arising. This is what's happening once again. We are at that time now. And from now until I feel about the year 2240 is when we as a planet and a species transform into 5D. And depending on what happens is what we transform into. Before the advent, before the beginning of Christianity, before it was even sanctioned as being December 25th by the Roman Catholic Church, which is what's Christmas called? Christ Mass, right? That's the name of Christmas, Christ Mass, right? This is our winter solstice date for thousands of years, right? Before it was the birth of Christ, this was known as the birthday of the sun, right? Literally the birthday of the sun, when days become longer and the sun's power gets magnified, right? The sun becomes personified, becomes deified. And it's happening way before Christ. It happened with Adonis. It happened with Horus. It happened with Mithra. It happened with Osiris, right? And every certain amount of years, like even the chat room saying almost 800 years since this last quote-unquote great conjunction, right? Even during, I think it was even during the time of Genghis Khan conquering other places when there was another time of this conjunction. And I do think Genghis Khan's bones are linked to these what's happening on 12/21. Worldwide, we will be doing rituals during this conjunction, higher consciousness tap-ins, and I have been shown what to do and where to go. And collectively, we have to join each other on this harmonic convergence. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, everybody. It is 12:19, and we're in the house. Spiral out.
No hate, no hype, no fear. We are TFR, your protection from deception.
Welcome back, everybody. You're here live tonight on Truth Frequency Radio. My name is Rock Castaldo. Thank you for joining me. This is the second segment here tonight. You stepped inside of Soul Station Radio in the Eye of Ra. You could find me at themysticalspiral.com, themysticalspiralstore.com if you want to go directly to my custom-made copper tensor tools and the most high quality crystals and specimens you could find on the market. And if you want to go right to that, it's the mysticalspiralstore.com. Also, you can subscribe right here at tfrlive.com/Eye of Ra to keep me free live every week and to get the full archives of all my shows over the last 3 years and everybody's shows that's currently on Truth Frequency Radio Network. Also, check out ialife.com, Chris and Sherry Geo's website. And, of course, you can find me on YouTube at Exploring the Ka with Rock Castaldo. And I'm on all social medias. If you could find me on Instagram, Twitter, all of that. But, yes, everybody, I have daily, if you guys see certain things are out of stock, that go out of stock every day, I'm adding different products and different things are coming and going. So, certain products I have, like the the custom-made ear product, ear tensor tool, they'll be ready in about 2 days. I had to get special copper for that, more bendable copper to make that one. So certain things will be restocked that are out of stock, but we have so much product there, even more being added just tonight as well. So check me out at the mysticalspiralstore.com, and great conversations in the chat room. Yes, we are stepping into the age of Aquarius officially. I think between now and the year 2240 will be the true rise of Aquarius, and we step into it officially on December 21st during this conjunction, right? And I do think there's a transformation happening over the next few hundred years, next 200 years or so. And the year 2240 will be around that time, will be the time of a global harmonic evolution, literally. And there's a war happening over information related to this, and our galaxy is under a transformation. It's not just our Earth. It's not just our species. It's our world. It's our multiverse. It's all related, right? And it's interesting that this is called the water barrier, right? Good post by Indigo Child in the chat room. We're going to be getting to that as well tonight, the harmonics of water and the harmonics of our Earth grid, right? But let me just not get off topic. Let me continue a little bit about what we got into before the break, right? Now, this is the time of the birthday of the sun, right? The winter solstice. Now, I was shown specifically that I have a specific mission to carry out on this conjunction, that we can't just sit here in our beds hoping that everybody else will do the work, the spiritual work. During these harmonic convergences, we have to unite. We have to be near each other, some of us. We have to be close to each other, within 6 to 8 feet of each other sometimes. Sometimes people cannot spread that web of divine light across the planet. Sometimes people need to be near each other and unite to feed off that vibrational energy. And we need to join in little groups, if it need be, all over the planet on December 21st, at specific sacred spots, even on our harmonic energy grid. And I know that I am an ancient time traveler such as yourselves out there, that this information is resonant with. An ancient time traveler. And we are here now to help with this alignment, right? That there is something magical happening right now, and you guys need to understand and to find your true soul mission, to find it within yourself. Look deep into yourself. Get rid of all that negative chatter, right? And rarely look in deep within yourself. There's a literal 2,000-year-old prophecy, most likely, that discusses this future winter solstice. 12/21/2020. I think it's directly talking about this. When Jupiter and Saturn align, the child of promise will be born, or will arise. The new Sun Lord will rise. And what's very interesting is that I do feel it's directly related to me and many other light workers on the planet. They talk about in ancient Etruscan how the star mother Tana will give birth to the new child of promise, who will help turn the key that can save the people of Earth. And this is said to take place at a certain special ancient stone as well. Now, it's not just one person, though. There are many on this planet that are here to turn that key during this time. And I know that me and some other people out there are part of this, that we are ancient time travelers, and that we are here for a specific divine cosmic mission, and the time is now. I can't talk any more specific about that on this radio broadcast right now. This is only for those that need to hear this, need to know this. They will understand where I'm talking about and what I'm talking about intuitively, right? So there are some people out there that are light workers that are actually deceiving some of the sleepers out there, that are actually working for the data virus, and people are looking up to them like they are spiritual guides. But in reality, they are working for the data virus that has infected the consciousness of this reality. And we are sampling from that tree of knowledge once again. Right? And this time of year is known for giving birth to a new star. Right? So it's not just with Christ. the sun became personified by certain people that have arisen over the years, certain energies that have arisen, like Horus, Osiris, Adonis, Mithra, right? Krishna. There's a book called the World's 16 Crucified Saviors that was first published in the 1870s by the author Kersey Graves, right? Now, the author talks about this. He writes Bacchus of Egypt, Bacchus of Greece, Adonis of Greece, Krishna of India, Chang Ti of China, Chris of Chaldea, Mithra of ancient Persia, Sakya of India. I mean, the list goes on and on. Jiao Wapo, which was a crucified savior of ancient Britain. They were all supposedly born on the 25th of December, according to history, right? And Krishna is represented as being born at midnight on the 25th of the month Savarana. Now, this is the equivalent of our December, right? And millions of people, millions of priests and disciples have been celebrating this birthday, and they've been doing it by decorating their houses with garlands and all the sorts of things, just like Christmas time, right? So way before the Catholic Church selected December 25th to coincide with these dates, right? They know that this is the time of a birth of a new avatar, right? Dionysus, right? All of these, yes. So December 25th was chosen, for those that don't know, by Pope Julius I in 337 AD. And Krishna, which was supposedly called also Lord Krishna, right? The Lord, he was the last great teacher supposedly of Hinduism. And he was looked at as a literal incarnation of God, just like Christ, right? And he was even talked about as the one who takes away the sins of the world, right? Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Right? And the details that is associated with Krishna's birth is remarkably similar to the details of how Jesus arrived, right? Krishna, or Lord Krishna, had a miraculous birth, right, in a cave. It was his foster father who came to the city to pay taxes, and he was saluted by a harmony of a chorus of angels, a great orb of light shone in the heavens, right? An orb of light friggin' came in the sky. And then all of a sudden he was adored by these wise men and shepherds and all of this, right? And his mother, Devaki, was then addressing her newborn son child as the God of gods, the King of kings, all of this. Very similar, right? And his parents were also, similar to the Bible, were visited by a prophet, and we're told that this child was from divine descent, from a cosmic divine origin. And he was actually rescued from the cruelty of his uncle, which was the Hindu Herod, right? The Hindu version of Herod. And he also was the one who had ordered the slaughter of all infants in the hope of killing Lord Krishna, which is very interesting, right? This cruel uncle was killing infants because of the prophecy of this child arising. And while he grew up, Krishna just totally amazed his teachers, and was, miracles were happening. And he was tempted by the devil like Christ. He washed his feet, washed the feet of the Brahmins, the highborn Brahmins. And I mean, think about how close Krishnamas is to Christmas, right? Krishna, Christ, Krishna. Huh? Don't sound familiar here? Doesn't it seem a little bit too similar? Krishna-miss, Christ-miss, right? Very similar. Very, very similar. And I'm not saying that it takes away from the validity of Jesus Christ. I'm saying that star child avatars get born during these winter solstice conjunctions, when certain alignments take place and certain things are done by certain ancient priesthoods. Things can be born to help with humanity. And there are also malevolent forces that are trying to prevent that as well. And we have seen this happen over periods, and I do think it's also related to comets, which bring these stars. Now, Krishna was born in a cave, right? He prophesized that a pure, the same thing as the Jesus Christ Messiah, by being prophesized that a pure virgin will conceive, and the child that will be born when a star will appear. And when you behold the star, it shall lead you and adore the child, right? And offer gifts with humility, because he is the almighty word which created the heavens, right? This is very powerful. This is very powerful information. And same thing with Mithraism in Christianity. There's very interesting connections. They had certain sacraments of initiation, baptism, between Mithraism and Christianity. And at one time these religions were existing. They were coexisting with each other. Yeah, I listed it on YouTube. Yeah, it's for this show today, so people on YouTube can remember that I do a show on Truth Frequency Radio. Yeah, shout out to Regular Girl. And Mithra was seen as the mediator between God and the men, and he ensured that mankind would have happiness through sacrifice. And Mithra worship also had communions and fasts and all of this. And there had clergies that men and women both vowed to celibacy. And, even St. Augustine relates that an Asiatic priest told him one time, in St. Augustine's writing, he wrote about this. St. Augustine, or Augustine, however you want to say it, he talked about that once an Asiatic priest actually told him that they worship the same God. And the Lord Buddha and all of this. The Lord, when you look at even Buddha, he was called the Lord Buddha, right? And he was also said to be born of the Virgin Maya, right? And he was also heralded by a star and a chorus of angels singing, right? And so there's so much that we could go into with that. I mean, the list goes pretty much on and on. You got the Tammuz in Babylon. He's a sun god, worshipped as a savior, right? Described as the only one of the god E-H, and his mother pictured as the virgin Ishtar, right? Or Ashtoreth. And she was seen as also pictured with the divine child in her arms, all of this. Her head with a halo around it. My mentor, one of my mentors, Dr. Leo Lewis Martello, he even taught me all of this years and years ago, right? And I've done my own digging for decades over this. Ishtar also had a halo around her head. She was crowned with 12 stars, right? Isis, also pictured in a very similar way. The mother of Horus, right? And it wasn't until even like the time of Constantine, which was like the year 325 AD, where Christ was deified by him, And then there's things started to, there's all sorts of interesting information that even has to do with the Temple of Jerusalem and the god Adonis. The same date was celebrated in the Temple of Jerusalem to the god Adonis, right? And in Egypt and Syria, people would celebrate on December 25th at the stroke of midnight, and they would be rushing out and yelling, "The Virgin has brought forth, the light is waxing." And all of this would be taking place. And many people believe that it's related to what? The morning and evening star, right? The sign Virgo, right? Or even Venus. Very interesting, right? And Mithra, the Persian sun god, was the strongest of, he was a rock-born god, born of the cave, right? And he was even called Sol Invictus, the unconquered sun. And he was also on December 25th. Very interesting, right? And I mean, they had Greece, the different things as well, with Zeus at Dodona and all of this. So, I mean, we could do a whole show talking about the links of December 25th and this winter solstice, and how there are powerful birthrights happening within the universe. And we are going through a very interesting transformation. I think it's even Saint Nicholas, right? That is very interesting too to talk about on December 25th, the winter solstice. Saint Nick was born in I think the 4th century of AD, right? And he became the Bishop of Myra, and many believe that his name is the Christianized version of the Greek god Apollo, who was also worshipped in Patara. And St. Nicholas, he has a few days that are actually dedicated to him. He's got May 9th, which is celebrated by Apollo worshippers as well, and December 6th as well, my sister's birthday, actually. So St. Nicholas didn't originate with Santa Claus. It definitely didn't. There's a lot of different things that we could talk about with the St. Nicholas as well. But I don't want to waste the whole show doing on symbolism and talking about with Christianity. But we are in a time of transformation and a time of remembrance. There is higher dimensional knowledge that is seeping down from the higher dimension into our realm. And there's also data virus as well that's happening. And we are getting branched off and pulled towards one to the other, like I said. And there are galactic computers that are connected to this. And you can say that it happened, it's from a future time that installed these in our eternal now. So it looks like some of these Soul Station computers have been there for eons. But it's related to what happens in our future. It definitely is. And I do think that's where even the quote-unquote guy, quote-unquote Valiant Thor, is related to as well. And we can even talk about that a little bit tonight. But first of all, I mentioned on other shows about the Persians and how they worshipped 4 royal stars, right? Now, I do think that these are certain areas where these galactic computers are. Even over the last several weeks, I have even activated certain things within my higher self about my soul contracts that I have made and why I am here now and what I'm meant to do. And even the birth of my daughter, what that means and why I was meant to go through all this and why certain struggles are happening right now. There's forces that are trying to prevent us during this harmonic convergence to helping each other, right? And there were certain people that were directly linked to their 5D life. And one of them was killed, murdered, I believe, in the I think it was in the late 1960s when he was killed. And I talked about him lately on my YouTube, because somehow this was calling out to me. And the other day, I had a very interesting experience. I was laying in bed with my daughter and my wife, and they were sleeping. I had woken up. It was like in the middle of the night, still dark out. It was freezing cold outside. We're blanketed with snow right now here in the Hudson Valley in New York. We got a couple of feet of snow, literally, right? And it was really cold outside. It was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I had woken from a very interesting dream travel, if you want to call it, a 5D parallel dimension travel. Because you guys realize, you ask what 5D is. You ask what an out-of-body experience is. Well, guess what? You do it every night when you dream. This is what's happening when you dream. You are tapping into your 5D life, right? You are literally tapping into who you are. You're having an out-of-body experience in a parallel dimension when you dream. It's very important. Very important. And sometimes people that show up in your dreams are people that are from your childhood in this life, that are also connect to other lives that they were also in your lives as different roles. That's why some people will show up that, say, you'll see somebody that you went to grammar school with, right? You haven't seen them in 30 years, but all of a sudden they'll pop up in your dream. This is because you also have a past life, a parallel life, another dimension life that is related to activity with this person. And they are related to your 5D life as well. Right? So there are certain things, certain forces that are trying to get us disconnected from our other harmonic evolution. And we're meant to do certain things, activate certain knowledge within us. We're supposed to have and be at a certain harmonic frequency of our brain waves during this conjunction. Literally. If you're riddled with negative thoughts and your frequency is plunged to a certain hypnotic state or depressed state during this conjunction, will be dire situation for you. This is very important. It's not just a one-day thing either. It's stepping into this now. From now until the end of this this transformation that we're going to have, which will be years. It's very important what's in your consciousness during this time. Get out all the negativity now. Throw it in the flames. Build a fire and literally throw all your negative thoughts within those flames and watch them go. Watch them turn into dust. Watch them get cast off with the wind and the flames, right? All of that negative energy. Right? Even Valiant Thor, when he relayed information to certain people while he was on this planet, and I think that this was a real situation here. But I do not think it is what everybody thinks. When we get back, we'll go right into it. The break's coming. I'm getting came up quick, so we'll get right back into this after the break. Don't go into spiral out. Try and hold the sun.
Hi, my name is Ella.
You must unite what has been set asunder.
We are TFR, Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back, everybody. We're inside the Eye of Ra on Soul Station Radio here on the Truth Frequency Radio Network. Whether you're hearing us right here on Truth Frequency Radio or iHeartRadio or paranormal radio apps or wherever you're listening embedded in this matrix, thank you, everybody, for joining us. This is the second half of the show, the second hour of the show. Yes, it's December 19th. The year 2020 is coming to an end. We're stepping into a Festa del Inferno, the winter solstice, the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction, the age of Aquarius, and we are beneath a beautiful, amazing crescent moon shining down on the Hudson River right now. Beautiful, like a bowl, like a telepathic bowl of reflection of Diana's mirror coming off of the Hudson River. Beautiful scene outside the window. But yeah, before the last break that we just had, I started to talk a little bit about Valiant Thor, and I do think that he was sent from our future. That in our future we are living on other planets, beneath the surface of other planets like Venus. And that he was sent. In our future, people are getting written within the matrix. They are not having natural birth. That we have cracked the genetic code. And when you can crack the genetic code of something and you understand the digital code of its creation, you can manifest it within the matrix. And I do think this is how Valiant Thor was born. If that's is most likely not his real name, a name that we can relate to. And I have the book called The Stranger at the Pentagon, right? Written by Dr. Frank Stranges, who personally was interacting for the last few months that Valiant Thor was here on this Earth plane at the Pentagon. And then after he left the Pentagon, he was sort of popping in and out of Dr. Frank Strange's life for a few years, right? So it's said that he didn't even have a belly button, right? He was born. He didn't have. He was very human, but with like a 300 IQ or more, and no belly button. And he was said to live beneath the surface of Venus. But the reason why I brought him up is because I am not the only one. It's amazing when other clairvoyants out there, if you want to put a label on us, because we all have these abilities. Unfortunately, we've been veiled from them, shut off from them. And unfortunately, most of us that end up getting access to certain parts of these abilities have to go through trauma or some sort of near-death experience or something like that to even activate just a small portion of these abilities, right? And I do feel that there is a powerful confirmations when you can have people from different backgrounds that don't know of each other's information, people from different worlds that don't even know of each other, that are coming to the same conclusions. Now, before I even realized about Valiant Thor and some of the things that he talked about with Dr. Frank Stranges, I came to some of my own experiences and information, right? Well, I just recently read Stranger at the Pentagon. My Aunt Lori Bruno, who I had on the show a couple of weeks ago, she's a world-famous psychic. She recommended I read the book. So I ended up getting the book. And of course, I've heard of Valiant Thor and Dr. Frank Stranges for many years. In fact, one of my mentors attended some conferences in the 1980s that had Dr. Frank Stranges speaking at it, and I was able to hear some audio clips back in the day in the 90s of this, and I was highly, highly influenced and affected by these talks. So Valiant Thor talked about how there are computers in certain areas stationed, anchored in certain areas of the cosmos that he called like Vector 1, Vector 2, Vector 3, Vector 4, whatever. All these vectors, they were these stations of intergalactic spaceships that were like computers, and they were anchored at certain parts of the cosmos that we are related to, directly related to the multiverse that we live in. And I do feel, from my own intuitive thoughts, that Valiant Thor was written in the Matrix. His digital code was manifested because in the future we have understood what our existence is. You know, it's a digital code, and when you understand that digital code, our DNA is like 4 letters repeated over and over again into certain patterns, and the code it's encoded with our what you know our heart, our human lung, everything has a certain code that makes it exist within our matrix. When you understand the true nature of that code, you can bring those things to life, right? So you don't have to have a birth through a mother's stargate. You can actually write it within the matrix. And since modern science, we have gone away from the true spiritual nature of the universe, right? During Copernicus, during Pythagoras, right? They talked about a harmonic spheres within the universe, a harmony of spheres. And modern science sort of like poo-pooed all that after a while. And it's only just now that we're starting to understand that this is reality as well. That there are physical planets that we see, right? But there's also a harmony of the spheres, harmonic frequencies, a harmonic evolution that keeps the evolutionary status going. We're not evolved through Darwinism, right? We're not evolved through deformities all of a sudden that arise. We are evolved through a cosmic consciousness that involves comets, that involves a harmony of spheres and a harmonic evolution, right? During the 14th century, we had an avatar arise. In the early 1300s, she was born in Italy. Her name was Auradia, right? And she taught to her followers that departed souls moved through a cycle of other worlds, eventually reaching the realm of the stars. And if the soul passed, if it doesn't, it's not able to pass into the solar realm, then within this solar realm where a new body is transformed, you're bathed in a cosmic light, a divine fire forges your soul, and the soul becomes a totally spiritual 5D being. If the soul does not reach that solar realm and dwell in that solar kingdom, then the soul has not evolved beyond the physical plane yet. It missed its 5D chance, and it's then passed back through Luna and returns to the Earth. But ultimately, our souls are to reach those stellar planes, the star soul stations within the sky. And in fact, in ancient Italian and Etruscan lore, in ancient times, the very constellation I'm born within, the constellation of Cancer, my sign that I'm born in with is Cancer, but the constellation of Cancer was believed to be the actual stargate that souls return to Earth through, right? The actual portal area where souls pass back to our Earth from is in actually within the constellation of Cancer. Thank you out there, Boy Solomon. Thank you in the chat room. We got a nice full chat room tonight. Thank you, everybody. Shout out to Alan's in the chat room now, too. Everybody out there. We got a full house out there. I'll give some shout outs out there. Some people in the chat room. We got my buddy Larry, Free Energy, Scottish Rose, Uriah, Path of the Fool, Indigo Child, Rebecca, Boy Solomon, Nightshade, Alan, Bam. Everybody's in the house tonight. Everybody out there that's hearing us needs to hear us. You could find me, of course, at the mysticalspiralstore.com, themysticalspiral.com, and right here on Truth Frequency Radio every Saturday night from 7 to 9 Eastern. And when I don't have to worry about interfacing with a guest and sort of sticking to the material of the guest, I can go all out, right? So that's why I do certain shows solo and certain shows with specific guests, right? But this very constellation of Cancer was believed in ancient times and in Italian mysticism, right, that it's actually the portal where souls come back to Earth through. And this actually in this ancient legend, It was in this constellation that the moon was located at the time of Earth's very creation. Right? This is also why they associate the sign of Cancer with the moon, because the ancient Etruscans, the ancient Italians, and a lot of this information came from the Persians, mind you, that they believed that in the constellation of Cancer, the moon was located in this constellation at the time that Earth was created, and that it was actually guarded by the god Mercury. Right? So you can break that down in any way you want. But yeah, I'm born 7/12/1978. So yes, I'm a Cancer baby as well. July 12th, 78. This will be my 43rd July coming up in 2021. But the moon itself was seen as a portal for souls that souls cross over into from the physical plane. And the ancients actually looked at it like when the moon grows and waxed, it was receiving departed souls. And when it declined and waned, it was actually releasing these souls, right? So departed souls would get drawn to the solar energy, would get drawn to the sun. And as the sun would rise, they were carried off to the underworld at sunset, right? And this is where they would dwell until their attachment to the physical life was dissolved, right? And then they rose with the moon into the sky and into the realm of the lunar mansions, right? The 28 lunar mansions. So these stellar mysteries are encoded within my DNA. They're encoded within the Tanaric mystics that I'm connected to, and this planet Venus is connected to this as well. It was known as the goddess of the stars, the star goddess, and this was the planet that oversaw the cycles of the soul. And her very consort being the pole star, right? The star god. And what's very interesting as we look at some of this information, we see that some of the beliefs of people like Pythagoras, which were believed for many, many, many years, and then sort of cast aside with modern science, we're finding that there is real truth behind this now. And real truth behind the 9 gods, if you want to call it. It's not really gods, but they're 9 principles of the universe, 9 harmonic laws of the universe, harmonic laws for evolution and free energy, right? This is what the 9 actually are, and the 9 are actually kinetic to certain harmonics of our sphere, of our Earth sphere. The 9 are governing all life and frequencies and thoughts on our planet. And in fact, the Grigori, or the Watchers, or the fallen angels, however you want to call them, higher dimensional beings, they, especially with the Persians as well, themselves, they were actually called the stars, the eyes of the night, right? And they were believed to assist and guide and bring these souls to the proper realms as they pass, right? And the Milky Way was believed to be the literal divine soul station where the main galactic computer is, divine abode of the gods, right? And this is actually called to the Etruscans and the ancient Tuscans and the ancient Italians that I'm connected to. The Milky Way was actually called the River of Tana. It's my daughter's name. My daughter's first name is Tana. Tana was looked at as the star goddess, and actually the Milky Way was called the River of Tana. And it was called this by the Tanaric witches, or mystics. And Tanaric being in their very name, Tana being in their very name. Even the Hebrew sacred scriptures are called the Tanakh, right? Even sacred Greeks, the star goddess or fire goddess is called Tana as well, right? But what the Tanaric mystics also believed was that in the River of Tana, in the Milky Way, where this is where the 9 heavenly crystal circles that issued the harmony of the spheres, that you know, these this is very important, because this was universally believed in not just Italy and ancient Italy, but universally believed until the time of Copernicus, right? And we're realizing now the truth behind all of this, right? We're realizing now that it is about a harmony of spheres, that there is a music of the universe, a divine frequency, right? And the Milky Way was seen as the divine soul station, the divine abode, the galactic computer, right? And this is where the 9 heavenly crystal circles, from which issued the harmony of the spheres, were. They were literally within this Milky Way. Existed these 9 heavenly crystal cities, these 9 principles of the universe, if you want to call them, right? And in fact, you can actually find them talking about stellar beings right in the Bible, right? In the book in the book of Job, 38:7, they talk about the morning stars and the sons of God, right? These are stellar beings, star beings, right? And these 9, now we're going to get really intense here, even further deeper into this, because with Pythagoras, we find some very interesting mathematics and geometries of the universe, right? And for those that don't know, Pythagoras, the man, he lived in or around the 6th century BC, right? And he was taught by the priests of Zoroaster, Persian mathematicians, Persian star mystics, right? And he was in possession of mathematical secrets of the Mesopotamians and the Persians. And his mathematic cult was like sort of religious, mystical, and it was a cult based on mathematics, right? And it was around 540 BC in the township of Crotona, which is in southern Italy here, right? So Pythagoras basically taught principles. He taught this, he had disciples, and they were worshiping numbers. They were worshiping harmonics, though. It wasn't just numbers, random numbers. It was harmonic frequencies with these numbers. And the main idea was that there's number is the essence of everything, of all things, a code. And it's a metaphysical principle of rational order in the multiverse. And he actually made some discoveries that showed that there's mathematical relationships of the musical scale and the connection of musical harmony and whole numbers, right? And he believed that all harmony and things of nature can be expressed in whole number relationships. Even the planets in their orbits, they moved in a harmony and a music of the spheres with one another, right? And with modern science, a lot of people said this is hogwash, that this is just mythology. But no, people are realizing now, just again, they're starting to realize that there is physical planets, yes, but there is a harmony of evolution tied to this, right? And Pythagoras explained that there are elements, and these elements are actually built up of geometrical figures. And one of the most intense figures that he can actually, geometric shapes that he worked with, was the dodecahedron, right? And this certain shape or geometrical figure was locked within they had so much knowledge. He said that encoded within this, is locked within this shape, is crucial information that is related to the geometrical nature of our universe and our existence. And you could go on and on about this, and I have found very interesting connections with the nine and some information with Pythagoras. Of course, Pythagoras didn't talk about the nine principles of the universe or nine gods and how they relate to these harmonic proportions, but I find most of them that have to deal with harmonic frequencies and light speed and the circumference or the way light moves around our Earth sphere is all linked to nine, right? So listen to this. I have found very interesting connections here, and you guys can take it or leave it. Do your own soul searching with this information. I'm not saying believe me, but it's very interesting, right? So even these great numbers that are looked at in the occult and in the Bible and in harmonic resonant frequencies, many of them that have to do with our Earth and our body and our frequency of evolution have to equal to 9, right? And a lot of these numbers also appear back in the occult over and over again, like the number 72. 72, of course, 7 and 2 equals 9, right? You see 72 in many different occult material and also in 72 hertz, right? So 72 is also used in like the Goetia and different things like that. It's all about harmonic frequencies. And 7 and 2, of course, even the number 720, right? 720 is also equal to 9. 7 and 2 equals 9, right? So check this out. Now also we have the pure harmonic speed of light, which is 144. 144 is also equal to 9, right? We got 1 and 4 is 5, and then 5 and 4 is 9. Or either way you add it up, right? 4 and 4 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. Even 144,000 breaks down to 9. 144 and all the zeros, if you add that all up, it comes to 9. It all comes to 9. Even double the speed of light. 144 times 2, 288. That equals to 9 as well, right? 8 and 8 is 16. 16 plus 2 is 18. 1 and 8 is 9, right? It all breaks down to 9. Even we have 360 degrees in a circle. 360 equals 9 as well. 3 and 6 is 9, right? Even the minutes of arc in a circle, which is very interesting. 216 or 21,600. This equals 9 as well, right? 6 and 1 is 7. 7 and 2 is 9. 216 equals 9, right? And these are all very interesting examples, and is demonstrated right in Pythagoras, right? Now, if you apply all of these to the Pythagoras right-angled 3-4-5 triangle and extend each side in this ratio, the figure will now have sides of 216, 288, and 360 units. And these harmonic proportions all equal to 9, right? So you have to start when various geometric relationships of the 3-4-5 triangle are varied, and they can be seen in any standard geometry book. You can look at this, right? But in a lot of things, you can't find this information that is linked to harmonic speeds of light or anything like that. But when you look at regular geometry, you can see certain things with the right angle triangle. And if you apply certain information to this and you extend each side in the ratio, then you will have these certain figures that all equal 9, right? And it's very interesting. This was demonstrated in a book in a certain way, not the 9 part, but in a book by John Mitchell, The City of Revelation. He discusses sacred numbers and the problem of squaring the circle, right? And he's sort of demonstrated that if the circles of the Earth and the Moon are placed in a certain ways to each other. It's produced in certain and put in certain correct proportions, then each framed within a square, and the geometric figure that was produced, successfully squares the circle, and there's a diameter, of 7,920 miles, and that of the moon, which is 2,160 miles, and these are all equal to 9, right? So this is very interesting. So don't go anywhere.
Real people, real radio. Wherever you are, make it TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
Saturday night, December 19th, 2020. We are here in the last segment. We've been live since 7 p.m. It is now 8:31 p.m. on this cold crescent moon Saturday night here as we go into the winter solstice and the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. Very interesting show we're having, and I'm very honored to be able to share this time with you all. Shout out to the chat room and Truth Frequency Radio. And once again, guys, you could find me at themysticalspiral.com, themysticalspiralstore.com if you want to go right to my custom tensor tools and crystals. You can also find me and my information, daily information, at patreon.com/themysticalspiral. Amazing information. A lot of stuff that I've been talking about tonight. I've been posting on my Patreon, like my remote viewings of Kaput Al Ghul and many other. I mean, if you go back into my archives, I have thousands of posts in Patreon over the last couple of years. And I have plasmic beings in photographs, paranormal photographs and videos, and all sorts of meditation techniques and exclusive information. I mean, it's priceless info that I've amassed in my Patreon, and for literally the price of a cup of coffee a month, you can have this information, $2. So if you really appreciate my work and want to support me, definitely check me out on Patreon, because I definitely would love to have you guys part of my Patreon team, and the support is needed. And you can also find me on YouTube at Exploring the Ka. Also check out ialife.com, Kristen Sherry Geo's website. And sometimes I get telepathic communications through my higher consciousness, right? And sometimes I tap into ancient crystals, and sometimes it's ancient computers. I mean, literally, you're interfaced with something very ancient, and it's part of our higher consciousness. It's part of who we are. It's part of what's transpiring. And sometimes I get this information that looks like electric fire, letters that look like electric fire, faces that look like electric fire. And that's the only way I can describe it, as holographic fire that I see it as. and sometimes it's a hologram, and sometimes you need to decode this information that you're seeing, right? And sometimes these electric fire is color coded, and they're coded with sound, and they're coded with all sorts of auditory and other emotional feelings that come with the sound and the fire letters, that come. It's very interesting. And we're about to get a lot revealed over the next few decades. All right. We're about to transform into something new. And, it's all built upon harmonics and harmonic frequencies, all of it. Our whole universe is built on harmonic universe. Even there's harmonics of mystical healing, if you want to call it mystical. There is no mystical, it just is. I mean, I use that word because it's an interesting word, but there really is no mystical. It's just it's part of what is, right? We call it mystical because it's been veiled from us. It's looked at as supernatural now, but it's actually it's a normal condition of who we are. But there's harmonics of evolution, and there's harmonics of chaos. And even remote viewings can be predicted at certain places on harmonic energy grid, like even how Ingo Swann was able to predict certain spots that there would be atomic detonations at, or places for atomic bombs, right? Because you can't just lay an atomic bomb anywhere. If people don't realize that, there's methods of these detonations that are related to harmonic coordinates, harmonic frequencies, and harmonic structures of physical mass, right? And even this guy, he was from New Zealand. I have a few of his books. Bruce Cathy. I don't know when Bruce passed away, but I was in conversation through email with him in the late 90s. When I first caught wind of his work and some of he was a military pilot at first for New Zealand. I'm not sure if he was an commercial pilot as well, but he was a well-respected pilot from New Zealand who was having UFO encounters. And he started to realize that these UFOs were traveling on the ley lines, on the harmonic energy grid. And he also came to find that even atomic bombs were detonated using this harmonic energy grid. And there's an intricate geometric device which can only be detonated by placing it on, below, or above a specific calculated geometric position that's in relation to the Earth's surface. And this is called the atom bomb, okay? And the atom bomb had to be specifically detonated in a certain spot, and it has to do with the position of the sun as well. And the geometric trigger that causes this chaos of matter, this disruption of matter within the bomb, was the spatial relationship between the Earth and the sun at a given instant of time. So this very knowledge, it reveals that an all-out, complete atomic war from all over the Earth would be impossible, because each bomb would have to be detonated at a certain place at a certain time, which has to be pre-calculated literally years in advance by whatever enemies are fighting each other, right? So an atomic war is pretty much ridiculous when you think about it, right? Because they can't be having one guy shoots and then the next guy returns fire. And no, these got to be pre-calculated years in advance by checking latitude and longitude of the sun, and where the sun's position at the time of the detonation. And Bruce Cathy in his books he went even further into this. he was able to actually discover some of the harmonic geometric coordinates that set up between the bomb site and the sun position at the instant of detonation. And once he realized this, he was actually able to calculate a bomb test ahead of time. So that's very interesting in itself. That this, not only him but even Ingo Swann, they were predicting where these atomic bomb tests would take place ahead of time, right? And so when you look at certain harmonics, right? There's a latitude, even in certain things that Bruce Cathy worked on. He was talking about how a place in, I think it was in the South Pacific, there was atomic tests taken that were being done by the French, and he was able to predict some of the harmonics and all of this. So you could find some of the information in Harmonic 33, the book by Bruce Cathy, and some other books by Bruce Cathy. It's very interesting when you think about this. I mean, these tests, the harmonics that are being used, and how this information as being kept from us. Yeah, see, the World Energy Grid. Yeah, Bruce Leonard Cathy. Yeah, I mean he died in 2013, but I think it was in the late 90s, early 2000s that I had first emailed him. And shout out to Bruce Cathy for even responding. But some of his books are really expensive to get right now. Some of the ones that have been reprinted have been left out with certain information. But you guys got to understand, when we're dealing with harmonic frequencies, there's literally been a war on our planet, and over beaming certain ELF waves onto our world, and even the Philadelphia experiment, all of these were using a harmonic energy grid to find the place of that they're going to carry out these experiments. So for those that don't know of the Philadelphia experiment, I mean, they were using Tesla technology, right? They were using these ships that were out of commission, that they had these huge coils on them, and they actually made something disappear and reappear somewhere else. So the full scale of what happened at this Philadelphia naval base in 1943, we'll never understand, right? But the USS Eldridge was the ship that was used, right? And there's a very intriguing mystery that goes along with all of this Philadelphia experiment. But they were using certain laws of harmonics and frequencies, and Tesla knew all about this, right? Tesla knew all about this, and we are coming at another harmonic convergence right now on our planet. And it's very important what's inside the minds of everybody. It's very important what we're going through in our thought patterns during these times, and our world energy grid, just like discussed with Bruce Cathy, is very interesting. Even he has a book called Harmonic 288, The Pulse of the Universe, right? And this is very interesting information. Even, 288 is double light speed. And we use the sacred qubit, which has a harmonic resonance frequency in my copper tools of 144 hertz, which is harmonic light speed. Now, 144 times 2, of course, is 288. And this is looked at as the pulse of the universe, Harmonic 288. You know, the Earth is a highly charged ball of plasmic electrical energy, right? Which is a static form of electricity. And if it's if the charge of the Earth is brought to a harmonically tuned resonance, then it could be brought under complete control and applied in certain ways, just like the same way as we power some hydroelectric stations. I mean, they even had omega stations, right? All in Australia, New Zealand, all these places, even before the Russians released Project Woodpecker, where they were beaming ELF waves on our harmonic energy grid. On July 4th, 1974 is when they released Project Woodpecker. But before that even happened, New Zealand and other places had omega stations, these tall antenna towers that were beaming very low frequencies for submarines and different things, right? To be able to pick up the frequency or certain things to be able to know where they're at, you know, if it's like a certain in the grid on the grid system. And it was the same thing. Even Bruce Cathey talks about the harmonics of water and the temperature and sound, right? And how water is one of the most unique and amazing chemicals in the world. Odorless, it's tasteless, it's colorless, right? Right, and it's bonded together. The molecular structure of water is bonded together, so strong, right? And it even resists being broken more than many metals, right? And it's very interesting when you get into water, and water is basically a conduit to the stars. It literally is, and I do believe that time and our fourth dimension is being controlled and by what's the technology on the moon. And 4D is directly related to our moon, and we are in a huge cusp, a transformation right now that is really powerful, everybody. And we are time travelers that are coming back here to help with this harmonic convergence. There was also a harmonic convergence of August of 1987, and people were gathering all over the world. Mount Shasta, right? You know, in Tibet, all over, people were gathering, and they were doing certain, you know, higher frequency rituals, if you want to call them, prayers, get-togethers. And that's what we need to do again right now for our winter solstice. Literally, we need to link together and form a harmonic convergence to bring our brainwaves back to a harmonic evolution. And that's what we're out right now. You know, this is what's happening right now. And we need to gather together at specific spots on our harmonic energy grid for December 21st for a new sun king to be born, a new child of promise. And I don't mean that this is a new avatar. I mean a new transformation of humanity, a new harmonic resonant being that we are going to be, you know. And this is the whole reason why the crown virus is upon us, the Keter virus, right? The coronavirus, the crown virus, the virus that is veiling us. We are being sucked back through 4D, back through the loop of time, right? We are sampling the tree of knowledge once again. And we have all sorts of different ways of recording information, right? One of them is from crystals. And I have been tapping into crystals and using crystals, even crystal skulls, to enhance my higher connection to my higher self and where I'm really from and who I really am. And I've been shown powerful things about my soul over the last few months that I did not know before. Powerful things about where I'm from and where we're all from. Even shown that where dolphins came from on comets, and that they originated in the Dorado constellation. And I've never had such vivid higher connections to my higher self in dream time and in waking state as I have in 2020. When there's high intensity in the universe and high trauma, there is also high miracles. And we are at this time of miracle. We are at a time of where anything is possible. And recently, I have two pretty decent sized crystal skulls, and one of them is an elongated skull that's made of black labradorite, and I've showed it before. Recently, my higher self told me what this crystal skull's name is, because everybody usually names their crystal skulls. Well, I didn't want to just choose a name. I waited for the name to come to me, and I was told from my higher consciousness that one of my crystal skulls' name is Omega's Li. Omega's Li, Omegas Li, Li, Omega's Li. And this name activates ancient information within my DNA, right? And when I looked it up, Omega's Li also is the gematria equivalent to Sekhmet, which is very interesting. Now, I do feel that a lot of this encoded crystal information from places like Atlantis that used crystal records were involved with storing information on huge crystals in places like Bimini and other places. They were not books like we have paper books. They were crystals. And there were actually crystal records found off of the Bimini coast, you know, and supposedly they were about 7 or 8 feet tall and 3 feet wide, 3 to 4 feet wide. And the people who really found it kept some of it really secret. I actually have crystal skulls available on my website, actually, as well. Rose quartz crystal skulls that were charged at the North Salem Balanced Rock, the healing chambers of Sekhmet, where I charged and activated my labradorite crystal skull. And do you know, ever since my labradorite crystal skull told me, I was told by my higher consciousness what the name of this skull is, ever since that, which was like a couple of weeks ago, there has been more rainbow sheen activating on this labradorite. Like, usually whatever sheen is on the labradorite is on the labradorite. You're not going to get any more or any less. It's always going to be that same amount of sheen, that rainbow sheen that you find on rainbow moonstone and labradorite, right? Well, ever since this skull, I was told the name of this skull, more rainbow sheen has been appearing all over it. All over it. It's like all over the third eye area, all over the chin area, all over the back of the skull, the sides, underneath it. I mean, it never had that much rainbow sheen. It's been glowing, literally glowing, activating, where I have to actually put it away at night. And it's been showing me fire letters, literal fire letters, you know. And yeah, Free Energy has 2 of my skulls that he's got from my website, you know. Very interesting, you know. And there is ancient information encoded within crystals. Crystals are here for storage. They were put here as ancient storage. They are stored like echoes of time are recorded inside the crystals. And we're starting to receive a galactic awakening from this. And the meaning of the fire letters and the fire, electric fire symbols that we see and faces that we see, the certain tones, certain energies that come from them are very important. And being attuned to them, you know. And there's a universal star language that's used all over the cosmos, all over the galaxies. And where right now the ancient Jerusalem Galactic Command is being activated. The Jerusalem Galactic Computer is coming. And it's linked to Andromeda and it's linked to a galactic network that is related to the Kaput Algol star and the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. Now, you would literally need an ancient Atlantean crystal translator to translate our crystals now. We're only getting little glimpses of it, right? We're only getting little glimpses. That's why we are getting these telepathic bursts of information to us, so we can help cleanse the collective consciousness of humanity and bring us back to a harmonic evolution. With that, we got to get pulled right back up through the loop of time we fell through. 3D got to get sucked right back up through 4D so we can emerge and transform back into our 5D selves. And like I said, you're tapping into your 5D self when you go to sleep at night. You're having out-of-body experiences, and you're traveling to parallel dimensions, and you're cultivating and creating your 5D life with your dreamtime travels. It's very important what happens in dreamtime. It's related to who you're transforming into in 5D. And realize what's in your collective consciousness of humanity and within your personal biosphere thought network during this conjunction of December 21st, 2020, in 2 days, will be drastic consequences if there's corruption in your thought network during that day. If from that day on, it really depends on what's in your thought patterns. This is the time of judgment. This is the time of free will. We are being restricted of our free will, which means we're losing possibilities, we're losing choices, we're losing dimensions. When you have infinite free will, you have infinite dimensions, infinite possibilities, infinite choices of what can happen. But when we get our free will restricted, like we have been, like what's being tampered with now, that means dimensions get deleted, converge, collapse on one each other, like happened in Atlantis. Everybody, we're running out of time. We only have a few seconds left. You can find me at the Mystical Spiral store. You must love each other. We must unite. Go to sacred spots on this harmonic energy grid for December 21st, winter solstice, and pray to the higher consciousness for global healing, global harmonic evolution. I love you all. You can find me at the Mystical Spiral. Spiral out. I try and hold the sun.